Alrighty. Give me 1 second, peeps. Just gotta turn everything on. There we go, that's me for myself. I just gotta put it on stream, but that's alright. We'll do that in a second. Open up this. Looks better. Alrighty. Let me hear what I sound like as well. Real quick. Okay. Why did it set it to the camera? Because I changed it to the mic. Hold on. Plug. I forgot how I changed this before. There we go. Boom. Alright, we sound all good. Let's hear it. Alright, yeah, that sounds great. Let me move the mic up to my level. Careful. Might be a little loud, I apologize for that. Alright. Sounds good. Seems like we're good. Alright, I'm gonna take these off. Boom. Let's close that stream. I mean, I guess not really overlay, but just the stream itself. And boom. We should be here and fine. Yep. We're here. Hello, everybody. I'm not gonna lie, I didn't expect to be here today, but that's alright. We're gonna keep things. I know I'm late, obviously. It's less. Oh, I mean, okay, I did oversleep. I'll admit that I overslept, mainly because okay. Here's how I'm gonna explain it. I had an alarm. I was going to follow that alarm completely. An hour prior to that, or 2 hours or whatever it may have been, I got a notification on my phone. That notification was that very fittingly, this had arrived. Let me see if there we go. This arrived. So, the obvious thing was, okay, get out of bed, put some clothes on, all this, walk downstairs, boom, go get it. It was already grabbed anyways, so I didn't even have to get up. But I went down to get this. I at least took it out, right? I took it out of like all the packaging and everything, put it on my shelf, all that. Cool. I then hopped back on my bed, and then I slept past my alarm. Now, luckily, I had an emergency one, and I woke up before that emergency alarm went off. But then I had the issue of I had to eat, I had to get all this ready, I had to do all sorts of shit. And all that resulted in I delayed the stream, and then we were also like 20 minutes late. So, my bad, absolutely. But it happens. And again, this was a bit of a surprise sort of moment for me, because I was like, oh shit, like last night, I was like, oh fuck, 35's out, and then, Delta ruins on Wednesday, I'm gonna have to sort all this shit out. So I kind of put 4:30 as a placeholder. I knew it probably wasn't going to be accurate, but it's even less accurate than I had hoped. So it's unfortunate, but it's not the worst. We're at least here. It's not super late. I don't mind, right? We'll be here till, like, I saw it's 8,000 words, which is really nice to pay. At least it's willing to show some mercy to me. So that will roughly take us 2 hours. I saw. Hold on, let me take a drink. I saw zero illustrations other than the first one on there. But I did see colors. And I'm excited because I think this is going to focus on someone very specific, obviously. But I think it's going to focus on somebody very specific. So that's a big win for me. Um, yeah, and again, fittingly, we got the Arc 7 volume with her on the cover, like today. There's something really special to that. What was I gonna mention? Right, yeah. So this will take us 2 hours and 45 minutes each. So that's roughly, would it be? Yeah, 2 hours, 15 minutes. But if we subtract 1,000 from there, roughly 2 hours. So probably a 2 hour stream or something like that. I'm not gonna go too late with this. Unfortunately, I do have some other shit I want to get to. Uh, just for fun, actually, let me show off one of the things I do have to get to because I am very happy with how this is going. Let me open it up on my computer here, and maybe I have to power that on. 1 second, let me power this on. Right now, I'm gonna give a brief look at this little teaser I'm working on for Act 2 of ADT because this is one of the things I'm working on. I feel like it'll be very obvious on some details regarding the teaser when I show this, but if we go here, oh, right, yeah, I forgot, I don't have it open. It would be this one. So, we're working on some things here, right? I am very excited with how this is turning out so far. I'm really enjoying it. You can kind of see the sketch underneath that we were doing on the previous stream, funny enough. But now I'm trying to finalize it, get some nice line art in there and everything. The design here might look familiar. It might be a very, very familiar design that it's really easy to see the source on somewhere. But I can't tell you where that source is. You might be able to see where. Uh, but yeah, I'm sharing that info here because it's a live stream. So if people see it, there you go. You get a sneak peek. Uh, but that's about it in regards to that. I just wanted to mention that's something I'm working on, and then obviously I'm gonna have to get ready for tomorrow's stream. Not necessarily like ready as in like this big sort of thing, but it's like I want to have at least all this prepared. I'm gonna figure out what I'm gonna do. I might take out the green screen. I have the green screen under my bed, that we always used before. I might take that out, pull it up. Um, Definitely when we react to that one analog horror series, when the next episode comes out, I think I'll definitely use that green screen. Uh, it'll 100% make me more terrified to have lights off, that on, or like that up, and just completely cramped in this space in the dark. That that'll be really enjoyable. That'll be really great on my psyche. But yeah. Other than that, that's all I wanted to show for that. Let me turn it off. Let me actually also close it. I could close it from here, but still, I'll close it anyways. There we go. All right, turn that off. Okay, that's all I wanted to show. But yeah, working on that at the same time. So we were bound to be a little short on time here with all this, but we're gonna have a nice, talk about the phase afterwards and everything. I did see that the volume art is out, right? I'm a little bit surprised by it, right? Obviously, it's nice to not have spoilers, but it's surprising to see like, oh, here's just Camp like running, and that's the art, right? It's like that's kind of surprising to me. But yeah, I mean, I don't mind it personally. I just like I did find it a little surprising. I'm just like, oh, it's just the felt cap and everything for the volume art. Not a bad thing, but just a little surprising. Let me take the pop out chat because I forgot about that. Oh, and I forgot to tweet this. Shit, I'm forgetting everything today. I'm so late with this shit. I'm so sorry. Ah. If we go to the channel, yeah, it should be right there. So we just grab it from here. Yeah, I'm expecting quite a few surprises with this because there's no way we end a phase without any surprises in a lot. I think this will be very fun. Make a quick tweet. Let's end this arc 9 phase slash volume. Hooray! 0 arc 9. Yep. And then boom. Okay. Yep. All right. That's all good. Just making sure everything's all right. Okay. We are good to go, ladies and gentlemen. This is going to be very fun. So I am looking forward to this a whole lot. This art is beautiful, right? I can clearly tell I'm gonna have a great time with all the art in here, right? I could see the colors like I mentioned. I'm gonna have a blast with this. But yeah, so 2 hour stream. I am also gonna do something at the end besides talking about the phase slash volume so far. I'm gonna keep that a surprise for now, but when we get to it, I'm gonna make a big statement on how I feel so far. Ooh, it's not super cold this time, but you know what? It's still really refreshing. Probably because it's once again hot out, but which I mean I'm wearing this, but that's all right. Okay, the Awakening Star. Oh boy. Also, I realized that the previous chapter was Attraction, and I'm like, oh yeah, of course. All right. Oh boy. Oh wait, let me silent my phone real quick, just in case. So, silent my phone. There we go. Turn off that. Okay. Cool. All right. Here we go. Let me minimize this a little bit. Not minimize, but just shrink. All right. When Rem returned to the Roswell Manor, she was unable to regain any sensation of coming back home whatsoever. Rem, do you see it? That is a mansion belonging to Roswell Summer, the place where Ram and the others are employed. Our workplace? As Ram indicated, the picturesque scenery, endued by rays of the sun falling bright, a sight visible from the window of the dragon carriage. Rem's pale blue pupils blinked, and her eyelids quivered at Ram's words. They had shared a dragon carriage and headed towards the industrial city of Kustul, and it had been a while since they boarded the dragon carriage prepared there for their return journey to drop them off. What entered her sight was her home, absent in recollection. A towering gate, and beyond it a splendid mansion, the Roswell mansion, with greater extravagance than even the Bursett's residence she had sojourned in with Katya, the Wallachian imperial capital, was a building with elegance incapable of being forgotten after a single glimpse. Yet, well, I apologize, Nasima. Rem, spiritless, shook her head and apologized for failing to respond to her elder sister's hopes. Rem had made the journey thus far apart from Subaru or Amelia and the others, who had to move separately towards separate goals, and had and had made her way back to the mansion with Rem, having anticipated witnessing many things that would stimulate her memories, yet none so far had managed to bestow truth to that anticipation. Well, there's a certain jobber who will, but or once was a jobber, but and it seemed that the mansion was no exception, the same mansion so valuable to Rem and Ram. I see, but it can't be helped. After all, it was quite a while ago that Ram and Rem worked in this mansion, and the mansion, deeply memorable to Rem, is not in this place. True, the real one that she's familiar with burned down. Huh? Yep, there it is. Incidentally, the previous mansion was lit aflame by a vexed Otto, and therefore is no longer extant. Or extant, sorry. uh, would have thought of taking a detour to visit it had it remained not ashen to the ground. Otto-san did, yet he didn't seem to be a person of such kind. Rem's eyes gyrated at the appended report, with further bewilderment at the information about Otto that Rem had recited. The Internal Affairs Minister of the camp, Otto, was a mild-mannered person, an inseparable friend and ally to Subaru, and a complete sleepless individual according to Petra and Frederica. The information of him, furthermore, setting the mansion ablaze in vexation, detracted from his character. It might have been, as I say, that people do not match their appearances, and it might have been a good thing to accept that now. Including that person. She's not going to be saying that all too much soon. Are Amelia-san's allies all a gathering of such people? Like Garfield or Roswell-san, too. It's Roswell-sama. Roswell-sama, too. Good girl. But to group Roswell-sama together with those three, bad girl, Rem. Roswell-sama is wise and proficient. The person said to be the most excelling magician in this world. Compared to him, those three, they're the worth of one person when you put all three of them together. No, about the worth of half a person. I mean, I get it. She does still like really love Roswell and all that, but I'm just saying. I'm just saying with the stunt he pulled, we maybe like obviously he's a really good magician by all means, but maybe we lower that a little bit. Also, I'm now realizing I have the light on. Let me just because I think it'll look fine without it, right? Hold on. Yeah, okay, it does. Um, but yeah, like maybe we take that down a bit because mm, I I don't know, Ram. Half a person has three people together. Imagining Otto, Garfield, and finally Subaru riding atop each other's shoulders, Rem then arranged Roswell, capable of flying via magic. Uh, Fair enough. Yeah, okay. I mean that adds up. Because I was gonna say it's like if we're like fully praising Roswell here, but yeah, if it's about the idiot trio, that makes sense. All right. Set the three in their mind, and upon lining them up, albeit Rem was ignorant of what difference would lie between them, it seemed Ram's say was not mistaken. Even now, with no prospects of her memories returning, for Rem, the faith and endearment she felt coming from the familiarity she could feel from Ram, her twin elder sister, that alone was indubitably genuine. You know what I really love? This is what I wanted, right? Once again, just like the thing with Rem, and the fact that it's the two combined, all this bullshit, like everything. This is what I wanted. I'm so happy I'm getting what I want here. Of we're gonna see live. We are going to watch a live moment of her remembering who she is and remembering who Subaru is and going into full panic mode. Oh, uh, there we go. For that was the definitive nexus, which connected the Rem of the past with the present. Soon they'll both be connected properly. That manner of thinking will purchase a scolding from Priscilla-san. Bitter sentiments surfacing in her mind, Rem recollected the gaze of a woman, fiery scarlet in hue. Uh, she, who had engraved a marketed what? Marked impact onto Rem's way of thinking and progressing, would never bless a bearing asphyxiating and clinging onto the past. In the same way, she would never favor a Rem that flattered by Ram, entrusting herself to the nectar of faith. Rem did not wish to be disliked by Priscilla, nor did she wish to walk an ashamed path of life. Hence, she reprimanded her heart, verging on pessimism, slapped her cheeks, and lifted her visage. But Nesama, going by this, then wouldn't that mean that there won't be many paths to my memory's return, even upon returning to that mansion? Hoo-hoo, swift grasp. An astute little sister makes Ram proud as well. No, not at all. I do not think that it, I do not think that is anything deserving of such praise from you, Neasama. However, just whose elder sister do you think the Ram standing here is? Do you think Rem's Neasama, would make such an oversight? With her hand on her chest, Rem declared so with a visage brimming in confidence. Rem earnestly shamed her own misappropriated worries at Rem's bold utterance. Rem had foreseen it without needing to be told by Rem. What roused curiosity, then, were Rem's ideas. We are returning to the mansion, yet that itself is not the goal. Then, is the goal a person? Who knows? Whether your answer is correct, you will be able to ascertain soon. Rem smiled at Rem's estimation as the dragon carriage stopped at roughly the same time. I had to think, I'm like, no, okay. For some reason, I don't know why, because I saw dragon carriage and my brain almost tried to think, oh, Petra is there. And it's like, no, she's with Petra and all them. For some reason, I thought she was there. And I was like, oh, she's gonna react as well. Which, to be fair, she is gonna react when we actually, get to see her react because she's gonna remember Rem as well. But she's gonna remember that those two are competing. Uh, Feeling the jolting long kept at bay by the divine protection of wind evasion, Rem was shaken as Ram stood up and gallantly proffered her or proffered her hand to her. Well then, we've arrived. Let's go. Yes, Neasama. Taking Ram's hand, Rem restrained her chest, faintly jouncing, in anxiety, and dismounted from the dragon carriage. As Ram spoke to the driver who had carried them thus far, Ram took a step forward from the dragon carriage and captured in her view the mansion and the serene front garden beyond the bars of the iron gate. This place is. As Ram narrowed her pale blue eyes, the mansion reflected within her pupils. Indeed, she possessed no recollection of it. Nevertheless, apprehending the attentive management that reached the building and the flower beds, the hedges, and every nook and cranny that shaped the mansion, she inadvertently straightened her posture. Regardless of the presence or absence of her memories, if Rem were to abide in the mansion Huron, then her position would surely be that of a servant like Rem and Frederica. Rem, you should just live a healthy and carefree life every day. For a moment, the impression of Subaru vocalizing this came to mind, but Rem forcibly repelled this overindulging phantom. Subaru, for certain, would likely say something along those lines, but he was tolling at something else at this moment. Yeah, incomparable to Rem, right now, in order to console the one who has sustained lacerations on his heart from losing Priscilla, he was. Oh, 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 oh. Hearing a sudden bellow, Rem drew back with an eek. She could tell the voice came from beyond the bars, that was to say, from the grounds of the mansion. Uh, Present there was the form of a young girl, her miniature hands gripping the bars, eyes widened and frozen steady. Adorable features, adorned with long pink hair, height seeming to indicate about 11 or 12 years of age, and a black garb enveloping her entire body save for the head. The young girl widened her spherical eyes and fixed her gaze upon Rem. Oh, she's gonna think this is Sphinx. Dude, yeah, I just read ahead a little bit. Of course, yeah, because she's gonna see this and be like, Sphinx. And then it's just, meanwhile, it's like, no, no, there's just a lot of clones. Funny. Rem had recollection of this girl from the vortex of the cataclysm within the Empire. You are the witch who brought on the great disaster. No, yet, like, either of those motherfuckers, if they ever visit this area, they're gonna see Ryuzu and be like, oh! Like, fucking Wilhelm might just take out his sword and then be like, wait, nope, hold on. But, uh, I mean, honestly, I think the interesting thing is, like, somebody like Raid Because the raid we see, I'm pretty sure, is prior to him like meeting everybody proper and all. I guess Volcanica actually sees Amelia and remembers Satella. Because I was gonna say, uh, if Raid saw Amelia and this was like after the fact, he'd probably also react similar to Wilhelm seeing Ryuzu. Uh, Ryuzu-sama, thank you for the welcoming. She shuddered in fear as the bearer of the great disaster extended a finger towards her. Beside Rem's horror at the sudden, implausible reunion with the disaster, Ram swiftly stepped forward and spoke to the girl. Rem turned towards Ram with a "huh?" at her prosaic behavior, the witch also scowled at her in a snap. No, yeah, fair. Uh, where were we? Oh, right. Ram, you're home. You're home, but you're a quick one. Are you asking Ram to pick you up the way Garth and Frederica do, Ryuzu-sama? That ain't what I'm saying. Putting that aside, that girl, Nisama, who is this person? The witch who had plotted the ruin of the empire, her name being Sphinx. However, Ram referred to the girl before her eyes with a uh, disparate name, Ryuzu. Ryuzu's line of sight once again on her. Ram perplexedly glanced at Ram. At the reaction of the two, Ram gently placed her hand atop Ram's shoulder. Kindly give your name to her. Despite the absence of even a minimal explanation, Ram's calm timbre, marvelously soothed Rem's ruled heart. Her disarray naturally coming undone, Rem turned towards Ryuzu, stabilizing her breath and steadily gazing into her opponent's eyes. I'm Rem. Am I right to assume that you are Ryuzu-san? I see. Yeah. Yeah. I'm Ryuzu, Rem. Rem gave her name and inquired hers, to which Ryuzu momentarily had a distant glint in her eye, then softly nodded. From her response, Ram's attitude, and the fact that she was on the premises of Roswell's mansion, Ram was at last able to harbor conviction that the girl before her and the Witch of the Empire were separate persons. Technically, but yeah. Even so, the resemblance is exceeding. Yes, there's a saying that there's at least 3 people in the world with a face that resembles yours, but in Ryuzu-sama's case, there are about 10 times that. Hence, also 10 times her crudity. What a detestable thing to say at a moment the elderly be getting all emotional. She's supposed to be. I guess it would make sense considering Garfield's kind of written like that, but like the way her accent's written almost borders less on country and more so like something like Scottish, which is interesting. Rem alluded to the misleading nature of her appearance as Ryuzu scolded Ram for her reply. It was tellable from their exchanges as well, but the two had a fairly relaxed relationship. Judging from Ryuzu's attitude, she must have also been someone who had a deep relationship with Rem of the past. Yeah, because yeah. Forgive me, but I don't remember anything. No matter, no matter. Ain't nothing to apologize for. I am Rem's little sister. She has the same hair color as Rem, after all. Uh, that's true. Huh? But oh wait, oh, she's playing a joke on her. Uh, that's true, but if she's, or I'm getting confused with my words here. Uh, but if she is Nesama's little sister, then that means Ram interrupted Ryuzu and divulged a shocking truth. Her breath taken away by stupefaction. No, yeah. Rem compared Ram and Ryuzu, deeming a convincibility in their hair colors. I mean, in a certain sense, in the Rafef, she almost does look like Ryuzu in a certain sense, but that's just because her hair gets a bit overgrown. However, Ram and Rem were supposed to be twins, so inevitably, Rem and Ryuzu's relation would come down to being also my little sister. Cut the cackle, Ram. Uh, that's what I'm saying. It's bad. or it's the bad influence of Lil Roz and Lil Sue. To enumerate them as equals, even you, Ryuzu-sama, have things you are and aren't allowed to do. Ain't something you should be saying with that tone. The brows of her cute face upraised, Ryuzu yelled aloud, to which Ram furrowed her eyebrows. Watching the quarrel between the two, Rem finally gauged that Ram had spoken in jest. Now that I think of it, it would certainly be strange for Nesama to address Ryuzu-san with Sama, if she were mine or Nesama's little sister. In that case, you could mistake him for a father or mother, depending on the situation, leaving the possibility of them being a blood sister to an important someone. Can't say that's some kind of perfect rebuttal. That is also true. Then, you are really mine and Nesama's. Nah, don't you mistake it for anything but a bad joke of Ram's. Seriously, what a headache. Rizu heaved a heavy sigh, to which Ram had her tongue slightly peeking out. She had been played like a fiddle, it seemed, but thinking back to it, even along their journey to this place, Ram had quite often stumped Rem in her playfulness, and in doing so granted her salvation. For drink? Oh boy. See, this is, once again, just like the video I posted, this is the calm before the storm, right? This is going to be a nice big moment later, and I'm excited for it. A little bit more. For Rem, quick to drown for the slightest of reasons, Ram's way, abounding in conviction and humor, was truly akin to the wrath of the sun. Or the wrath of the sun. What? Warmth. Warmth. I thought the R was like in front of the A, and I was just like wrath. Uh, either technically speaking, either or fits here. I believe Nasama is a wonderful person, including this playfulness. From what was informed in the bird mail, ain't been too many days since you reunited. Yet to have tamed her this much, tame her, is a boorish way to put it. A simply devoted sincerity and love. For that, you're frockling too much to an uncharacteristic level, Ram. Though I do understand your happiness for being able to live with your little sister after her finally waking up from her never-ending sleep. How cheeky for a mere Ryuzu someone to say. Or how to say, what? I'm like, fucking, I'm making up shit now, oh boy. Whoa. You get in attack mode when you're hiding your embarrassment, so never mind me. But I wish you'd have some consideration with little Gar. Now then. Ram faintly frowned. Rem was struck with admiration at the rare state of her elder sister being cornered, when Ryuzu stepped away from the bars after having been leaning upon the iron gate. It's weird to keep talking at the gate. I also want to give a big hug to my granddaughters for coming back safe and sound. Granddaughters? That's the best joke she could come up with. Kindly laugh for her. Means that's how much I think of you. As Ryuzu tapered her lips, Rem's own lips loosened even through her perplexement. Not because Ram had told her to. It was just spontaneously happened in response to Ryuzu's thoughtfulness. Above all, for Ryuzu to treat Rem and Ram as granddaughters, despite looking younger than them, was a truly apocryphal element, even taking her thoughtfulness into account. Beatrice Summer was the same way, but it is the tendency of young children to act older than they are. It would seem so. Beatrice Summer's true self appears when she is atop Barasu's lap. Considering her cuteness, I would have to agree. Spika was the same way, but it befitted children best to be like children, laughing to their fullest. Not just Beatrice, but if Ryuzu also stopped trying to act older and smiled suitably for her age, just how adorable she would be. Immersed in those introspections, Rem's uh, Cognizance momentarily paused at what immediately followed. Now then, everybody, let's open the gates. Upon apprehending what Ryuzu had vocalized, the iron gate to the mansion slowly began to open. That by itself was good, without issue. The issue lay beyond the gate's opening. The gate's latches unfastened, the gateway opening to the inside. Moving it were several persons abiding by Ryuzu's call, each with hair and ornaments that adorned them, differing per the respective liking of each. Yet all of them wore the same face as Ryuzu. Namely, those girls possessed an identical visage as the witch Sphinx. Eek! Expectedly overwhelmed, without curtail, Rem screeched to her limit. Let's go a little bit down. Oh boy. Again, we're still in like the calm before the storm. Like, man, it's so simple right now, but when we get to the like end of this, I just spoiled myself there. Very minor, but I just spoiled myself there. She's working as a maid now? I looked at the bottom of the page. Damn. That's, I kind of like that. Fuck. Yeah. That's my bad. That's my bad. I shouldn't have read out. I keep doing that, and ah, that explains. I did see some art on my feed, regarding her in like a maid outfit and everything. I just saw a whole bunch of that, and I was just like, oh, like that's a cute thing that people are doing. I guess it's because of Arc 5. No, it's this. That makes sense now. That scream baffled me, but I understand. Most certainly anybody would be astonished after seeing Ryuzu-sama and her sisters, Piko-sama and the rest. For you to say that gives me some relief. Rem hung her head in shame before the blonde-haired maid, who indicated her sympathy. The greeting with Ryuzu at the gate, the frightening affairs that followed, the entrance of more than 10 girls bearing the same face as Ryuzu's, made her feel incredibly embarrassed for her delirious response to it. Even though Nesama had appraised me that the amount of people who had a face identical to Ryuzu-san was 3 times 10, yet I reckoned she was only joking. It's the way Rem spoke, but you also can't fault yourself for thinking that way, Rem. For you to think, or for you to not think of it as a joke, or as a joke to be blind belief, and I can't say I approve of that. You speak of it quite nonchalantly, but would it not be good for you to take a look in the mirror yourself as well, Ryuzu-sama? If you continue to cause problems so frequently that it will be impossible to discount them despite your adorable appearance, then it will be about time I took matters into my own hands. You're scaring me. Glowed by those somewhat tranquil eyes, Ryuzu curled up in reflection. This made Rem loosen her lips at last as she corrected her hunched posture. She had never predicted such a commotion would be stirred up, even before she had entered the mansion's premises. But now that she had been permitted to pass inside, she could not help but keep moping this way forever. Although, cause you trouble by making a ruckus. I am... How the fuck do you say it again? Is it just... Fuck, I don't remember. I remember hearing it in the anime and I'm like, got it. I know how to say it now. And then I totally forgot. I'm just gonna say Sylphy. Sylphy Elmart. Previously Corneus, but I divorced. I'd been entrusted to attend to the mansion during everyone's absence. The mansion. Then, were you also a co-worker of mine and Nesama's? Sylphy-san? Rem inquired of the maid, Sylphy, who gently lowered her back and bowed. Albeit a matter of course, it was likely that all of the women who worked at Roswell's mansion were acquaintances of Rem. Surely, she must have troubled them owing to her slumber. However, Sylphy shook her head and oh, it's life. Okay. I see. Okay, fair enough. See, this is the tricky thing sometimes with this is the tricky thing with, or like the tricky thing with these names sometimes. And sometimes something I worry about with ADT if I come up with like an interesting name in there, because I'm just like, shit, I gotta clarify to people how you pronounce this and everything. I had to do that with Act 2 a little bit, and funny enough, it wasn't even complicated names. It was just I needed to make it clear on this is how you say it, right? So, uh, okay, so Slife, I'll be a miracle. It was likely all, yeah, Slife shook her head and denied. See, now I'm trying, now I'm like mixed up a bit. Hold on. So why is it like Alan Amelia's, was it, see. So, so C, or, I'm like looking up at her name. Just be like, hold on. So Sylphie? Is that what it is? Am I butchering this? I might be butchering this. I butchered names in this series before. I was calling Wallachia Wallachia, which I mean technically is also a fantasy thing, but okay. Wait, yes, I'm butchering it? Oh, yes, I got it. Okay, okay, cool, cool. We got this sorted out. All right, good. I just want to make sure I'm not like constantly because I worried about that with Cecilus, right? Like his name, I was just like, there's an E, there's an I. I'm probably butchering that, but then it's like, seemed fine for everybody, so I was just like, okay, I guess I'm doing it. Uh, okay, Sylphie. That is way easier to say now that I'm thinking about it. All right, Sylphie shook her head and denied Rem's concern with a no. I am still a newcomer, so I have never worked with Rem-sama and the others. In addition, I have been employed not by the Margrave, but by Milord-sama. Furthermore, my master is myself alone. My heart's master is nobody but Amelia-sama. Yeah! Pride Month! uh, Overawed by Sylphie's gaze, perfused with potent willpower, Rem's head unwittingly inclined backward. The unordinary allegiance Sylphie had attested for Amelia. It could also be discerned from the flawless maintenance of the entry hall, the passages, and the parlor she was presently in, all of which she had seen on her way around the mansion under Sylphie's guidance. In accordance with her impression of the mansion from the outside, the professionalism was remarkable. This work, uh, incontrovertibly, emanated from the emotions which exalted Amelia as even the master of her heart. Sylphie, have you known Amelia-san for a long time? No, it has only been a few months since we met, and that too with an exceedingly limited time frame in which I was able to be in her company personally. And yet, you devote such emotion is what the person did for you, rather than the length of time you spent with them, that determines to what extent that person will compromise your heart. Is it not? That's you know, you know what I love about that? That's a parallel. That is literally a parallel. A few months. You know how much time takes place between Arc 2 and Arc 3? A few months. That's so good. That hold on. I was already gonna say I do like that Emilia woke her up from this fucking like never ending nightmare that, she is willing to be like, yeah, sure, I'll help out here, fuck it, right? Um, but the fact that like this, right? The fact that it parallels Rem, and Rem doesn't even know that, and she's gonna know that by the end of this chapter at the bare minimum. Oh, oh, that's good. That's really good. How far are we into this? There's no shot we're that far. Let me see. Yeah, I saw my scroll bar last night go to like down there. Ooh, excuse me. I guarantee we still have like 7,000 or 6,000 words left. Dude, dude, fuck. I think uh I think I'm making the correct decision later. I'll get to that when I get to it, but I think I'm making the correct decision. Taken aback by the unexpected reply, Remcaster gazed downward at Sylphie's subsisting words. What crossed Rem's mind in this moment were the figures of people she cherished, Spika and Katja. However, taking also into account that they were relationships Rem had fostered anew, fire memories, the time Rem had spent with them was not a great number of days by any measure. Nevertheless, still, Rem resolutely felt them to be irreplaceable. What Sylphie had said was correct, and as Rem neared this conviction, a clear image of Super's visage emerged within her mind, making her pursed lips shut. Because again, it's still piecing back together. It's still the same shit that we saw with Ram in Arc 6, and like we saw with Rem in 7 and 8. It's still in there. That's so good. Rem-sama, she must be befuddled, Sylphie. Uh, I'm sure I told you yeah, about Rem's circumstance. You are correct. My apologies. I lacked foresight. No, this is not something you need to apologize for. It's simply my circumstance. Won't be for long. Yuzu and Sylphie exchanged glances upon hearing Rem's reply. Albeit to the heartache of the cordial two, Rem did not wish to speak of her her present conflict. As expressed, it was Rem's own distress, her own anguish to the very end. You look downhearted, Rem. Did Sylphie tease you or such? Upon the voice abruptly calling for her, Rem raised her head and gazed at the parlor's entrance. Standing there was Ram, having momentarily parted from her in the middle of guiding her towards the parlor to see to certain business. As Ram belated enjoyed them, Rem gulped and inhaled, eyes wide at her appearance. Ram stood there in an unfamiliar maid guise. Nesima, that attire. Were you not told so multiple times? Ram is the mansion's, Roswell Summer's maid. Rem was inadvertently captivated by Ram, who combed down her pink hair and replied in exuberance. Looking at Rem all the same as Rem, Ruzi exhaled a jaunted ah. Been a minute since we've seen Rem in this kind of attire. Ain't that so? Indeed, Rem had been wearing her travel clothing for some time, so it feels refreshing. I thought the traveling clothing was pretty cool, I'm just gonna say. Uh, so refreshing that it would seem some parts of the uniform are disordered in the manner that they've been worn. May I fix them? If that's so, then you are requested to. Uh, no, yeah, like since Arc 6, she's been wearing that. But you know what? I just said it. I said it the previous stream. I'll say it again now. That is like their best outfit so far. I'm not saying that the maid outfit is very boring and plain, but it's just a maid outfit, right? There are details about it that you can attribute to them, but it's just a maid outfit. But like, if you were to talk Arc 6 design, right, and you were to talk about like, you could just see a few colors here and there, and would you be able to spot the character? If I was told like, oh, green cloak, uh, was it pink? No, no, yeah, it was a green cloak. No, yeah, because yeah, green cloak that went over the shoulders and everything. Green skirt, green boots, and then this like white dress shirt sort of thing, with this. I'm gonna say frill. I forgot the actual name of the article of clothing. Sorry about the hitting there. I forget the name of the proper article of clothing, but the like pink sort of frills there at the top, and all this sort of shit, right? If you listed all those details, I'd say Ren, right? Then you say the same thing, but blue for the frills, and then pink, pink, you know, pink skirt, pink boots. I'd say Ren, or not Ren, Rem. Sorry, wrong one. But like, I would be able to determine who I'm talking about. You say maid dress for the series, I have to say which character, right? There's like 4 or 5 who wear that, right? The only differences is like for somebody like Frederica, Frederica has a long maid dress. So if you specify long maid dress, I'm gonna say, oh, Frederica. Everyone else, it is hard to tell because everyone else is like the same height. So, and it's why I like that outfit because it's like, it's always the thing of you want to have an outfit that really says it's that character, right? You think about Amelia's outfit, it's just Amelia's. You don't think of anybody else. You think about Subaru's, it's just Subaru's. You don't think about anybody else. You think of Beatrice, it's just Beatrice, right? Any other character in the series is like that, but that's the issue with having a character who is just in a maid outfit. Is when there are multiple characters in a maid outfit, who are you referring to, right? It's why I like that outfit so much. On top of the fact it looks fucking great, right? In my opinion, that shit rocks. I take a quick drink. I also really like that on Arc 7 and Arc 8, Rem kind of takes off the cloak. So it's like it becomes even more distinct for her, especially. Uh, where were we? Right. Besides the mesmerized Rem, Ryuzu was enthralled by Sylphie's attentively, uh, attentively began assisting with Rem's dressing. While Sylphie's hands adjusted her uniform, Ram met Rem's gaze by closing one eye and winking at her. This is the maid uniform that Ram and Rem wear whilst working in the mansion. I think it is wonderful, but doesn't it expose a bit more skin compared to Sylphie's uniform or Sylphie's son's uniform? Just what difference could it be that the person was behind, like that person was behind it? Comparing the maid outfits of Ram and Sylphie's, Rem bore this misgiving whilst hugging her own shoulders. It was a lovable, or it was a lovely outfit to be sure, but the oh wait, sorry, discrepancy was too much, or was much too clear, and its intent unknown. And when she fought back to it in the Empire, Subaru would often vest convoluted sentiments within her by alluding to Rem's attire, telling her what would be cuter, what would make her more alluring, etc. The memories of those times were resurrected by the uniforms before her eyes. I did think he had an abnormal obsession in even the attire of others, but for it to show up even here, it would seem a misunderstanding has occurred, uh, Ramsama. Indeed, Bram personally is not concerned whatsoever by how much Barasu's repute falls to the gutter in Rem's mind, but it is unamusing to have credit stolen. Credit, you say? Yes, it's made uniforms alteration, something Ram personally proposed and adjusted. All of it was because Ram wished to wear a uniform with better mobility, is what it was supposed to be. Where'd that confidence of yours go all of a sudden? Ram's confidence uncharacteristically whittled by the end of her utterance. Ryuzu tilted her head. Upon Ryuzu's delineation, Ram muttered, quite incomprehensible. To be skeptical of one's own opinion, how unpleasant. The reason why Ram proposed the uniform's alteration was, probably, not supposed to be something so randomly offhanded like that. You you say that for your own opinion? Feels to be a scheme of the uniform's provider. It is irksome for being a thought akin to Barasu's. But if they wanted to make Rem, or if they wanted to make Rem wear a cute uniform, that would be much more convincing. I see, most certainly. I am persuaded. One finger on your lips. Sylvie, for some reason, endorsed Rem's inference. Judging from the flow of the conversation, Sophie probably had the urge to dress someone in cute clothes as well. In reality, in a world where the plural majority of memories surrounding Rem had disappeared, the true nature of Rem's that and the correct I'm not even gonna try. And the correct answer to it would never be known, or would likely never be known. Well, if so, then Rem will believe what she wishes to believe, unafraid of what anyone else may ever think. You see, I'm sure Nesama would have found Priscilla Sama agreeable as well. You know what I'm interested? The interesting thing is we don't know the time frame of this. At least I don't, right? Because I haven't read the chapter, but we don't know the time frame of this. So at any point here could be the Amelia and Al fight happening, and I have no clue, right? Because that's going to be the moment where this all changes. I would have laughed if I scrolled down and it immediately happened. There was no shot it was going to, but let me take a quick drink. I opened up the wrong window there. Damn, we've already been going for an hour. I mean, I know I had it on starting soon for like 5 minutes or so, but like, damn, we're going by this quick. Albeit confined in small companionships of Rems, but as noble and powerful women, Priscilla and Ram had radiant and surprised commonalities. Had Priscilla been alive and well, there would have been a future in which the two would have come to good terms with one another through Rem. Or they would have collided against one another as natural enemies. Anyhow, her suspicions towards Subaru concerning the maid uniforms seem misplaced. But it's all because that person is constantly doing such misleading things. We're talking about Lil Sue. It's a pity you give flack to him. Oopsie. Riza-san, you're able to speak, or you're able to say this because you haven't witnessed that person say all sorts of nonsense and cross-dress as a woman. To think, Lil Sue was cross-dressing even in the Empire. He ought to be learning some manners. Cross-dress as a woman, despite the presence of Amelia Summer's person. For what purpose? Depending on that answer, Riz's reaction evinced that Subaru truly was a repeat offender. Uh, uh, Sylphie expressed a stern displeasure upon hearing this. Rem was determined to grill him about this once again in her mind. Funny part is she's gonna get her memories back, and I remember in the manga, I'm pretty sure. Let me see where it is. It's this volume. If I remember correctly, because him cross-dressing is in here. Uh, yeah, so this is where the cook shows up, which is like the big thing about that. And then, no, this is him being trapped with Rem. Where is, this is it. Yeah, this is it. And I'm pretty sure Rem's reaction, funny enough, let me see. Because I'm pretty sure there's a proper sort of. Yeah, no, I'm looking over this, and just she looks so fucking happy despite him doing that, right? Which is fitting, right? But yeah, so kind of funny in a certain sense. It's kind of funny that she's like, oh, I'm gonna grill him out for this, and then she's gonna like think of it later and be like, okay, that was maybe a little odd for a choice, but you know what? Good job. Uh, during this exchange, Sylphie completed her dressing of Ram. Ram swiftly twirled the hem of her skirt, overturning as she exuberantly stroked her hair upward. Nothing uncomfortable. Good work, Sylphie. The compliment is an honor, is what I will state for the record. The Rem's commendation, so kindly accept it without feeling shy. That's not all. Uh, from a cursory glance, you've attended to the mansion quite meticulously as well. I did live days of subservience beneath a unsalvageable, yeah, unsalvageable husband, Summer. Uh, should even a speck of dirt be fallen onto the ground, or onto the floor, either or, uh, each wife would bear the corollary, I mean, embarrassment of myself, we're just going to keep going, of being worthless. Infuriates me to even remember, although recently he reaped what he had sown. Having corrected Ram's uniform in an instant, Sylphie spoke of her previous place of employment. No, her environment, perhaps. It could be glimpsed through her words and conduct how debilitating that place was. To which, yeah, no, I mean, got kicked into the earth, and that's that. To which Rem also felt a great sympathy. But before this, Rem, with her shift into a flawless maid, Rem gently set a cup of tea. Here, must be parched after all of Rizu-sama and Sylphie's inquiries. Painting us as villains, even when you're just handing a cup of tea, eh? Ha! Scoffing an exhale at the sour-lipped Ryuzu, Ram laid out tea for her and Sylphie as well. Seemingly, having brought the serving stand to the corridor, Ram adequately, or adaptively, poured the two's tea, and with her gaze, urged Rem to take a sip. Heeding her direction, Rem no longer constrained herself from enjoying the tea's aroma any further and placed the cup to her mouth, her eyes reflectively dilating. Delicious, isn't it? Brewing tea is Ram's sole specialty as a maid, after all. You carry yourself with contrast of seriousness to a nearly enchanting degree. Not that I can say much, since truthfully, I have never had the opportunity to enjoy tea of such quality. Even Frederica's always happy to say this one's peerless. Sylphie and Ryuzu also yielded in defeat to the triumphant Ram and sipped their tea. Savoring the aroma entering her nostrils and the flavor atop her tongue, whilst nodding to the two's voicing, Rem took a sudden notice to Ram's gentle gaze, affection and a somber hope sojourned within. Ah, Ram would never aver, but surely she must have conferred her hopes onto even the flavor of this tea. Oh shit, there's the art. It's not or arduous to imagine that before losing her memories, Rem also suffered the flavor of this esteem, of this tea which only Rem could make. In reality, her serving of the tea, artful enough to bedew one's tear ducts in captivation, seemed to imbue every fragrant of Rem's body with affection. It did not, however, stimulate Rem's memories, and forge the outcome longed for. It is very truly very delicious, but placing the cup she had finished sipping from upon the table, and with eyes closed, Rem spoke so evasively. However, to Rem's conduct, Ram smiled with a stupid, so simply brewing some tea. Nowhere near any necessity for cute Rem to apologize. Ramsama, you may have made her apologize due to your stabbing gaze. My former husband, Sama, was an inordinately uh, temperamental person, but he kept in good spirits if he were to just receive apologies in the meanwhile. Oh dear, Ram, would you pour another cup of tea for Sylphie? I feel so awful for this girl. Why would you feel so? Contrary to feeling pity, I am rejoicing in the freedom which I have never had before. Slightly furrowing her eyebrows, Sylphie informed Ryuzu, eyes sorrowful of her incredulity. Complying with Ryuzu's entreaty, Ram began preparing a second cup for Sylphie. Whilst glimpsing Ram's back once again, did Rem ardently, fervently resolve, I want to respond to the people who are so good to me. That's nice. I like that. Take a drink. Oh boy, how far down are we now? Dude, we still have so much to go. Fuck. I mean, okay, we are like what seems to be close to halfway down, but I can say this. When I checked the word count, I'm glad I did so last night because if it was gonna be this hot, I probably wasn't gonna stream. I'm not gonna lie. I probably was gonna be like, you know what? We'll do 35 when it cools down and all this. Uh, no, yeah. I do like that Ryuzu is this like kind of grandma to everybody who like likes to poke fun, but at the same time does feel really bad for what is essentially her family, no matter how new they may be. It's really great. Um, yeah, fuck, dude. Actually, it's my hold on, my fan's not even at the max setting. It is not. What's up, that? That's why. I mean, it's still hot, but the fan wasn't even at the max. My blind got in the way. Hold on. There we go. Cool. All right. After leaving the parlor, Rem followed her curiosity and ambled around the parts of the mansion. Every point at which she would stop, Rem, chaperoning her, excuse me, would retell memories of those places. That's the flower bed where Barasu got his head covered in manure. Or, this pillar has gnaw marks from Garf on it, doesn't it? He shall be chided later. The portrait of the great spirit Sama that Emilia Sama and Beatrice Sama drew on the ground. It's still here, endowing her not even the time to relish her forlorn. However, contrary to this embrace and consideration of Rams, Rem was unable to convene with a fortuitous feeling that pressed her back. More children were resembling Ryuzu-sama. Pico and the rest, after being taken out of the sanctuary, they've been in the midst of learning many things from square one. No, from I'm also in a similar circumstance to those girls, whereas Sylphie, Sun, and the others aren't I. Unlike the awfully matured Ryuzu, these young girls appeared as innocent as their appearance suggested. These girls, with the child dressed as Pico as the first, were noticeable at every corner of the spacious Roswell mansion, running around assisting maids wearing the same uniform as Sylphie. Uh, the pronouncedly diligent girls apparently bore a destiny differing from that of most people by their birth, and now liberated from it, were currently perpulated or huh, proposed. We're gonna keep going. All right, this is a rough day. This is a rough day for me. In the midst of walking a different pathway of life. On one hand were these ladies, maids whose beauty and elegance allured the eyes of many, but from what she had heard, these were women situated in plightful circumstances identical to Sylphie, and all of them had been able to escape with Amelia's aid. In the sense of Ryuzu's sisters, as well as these maid girls, having their ways of life trifled by destiny, playthings of fate, what crossed Brem's mind was that they were the same as her. However, Rem's thought was appended by Ram's words, starting with an indeed. Regardless of the presence or absence of memories, upon resolving to start walking a new path, no, yeah, it's honestly I really like it. Both everybody from like all the Ryuzus from the sanctuary, and then all of Regulus's wives are all here. It's fun. Usually there's no choice but to start collecting from the beginning. Rem is not special. Nesima. No, made a mistake. Rem is special. She's much too beloved to Rem, after all. That revision stated, Rem turned her face away in bashfulness from the magnitude of love bestowed to her. Of course, Rem also felt a powerful kinship and overflowing love towards Ram, but the sense that what Ram gave to her was 10 times, 100 times of what Rem gave, left her disconcerted. Bearing this vexation, Rem and Ram's tour of the Roswell mansion resumed, and before long, Rem, this is your room. Quick drink? Dude, I can't wait to see how they react to getting their memories back. Oh boy. Uh, Rem's hand opened the door. Her hand gestured toward the room, and into which Rem stepped inside. Compared to places inside the mansion she had surveyed, like the reception or the dining halls, the large bath or the secret special training grounds, the lounge, the gardens, and the balcony, there were not many points of interest here, much like the parlor. Considering the mansion's size, the room given to a mere servitile Rem was quite proper, but not much else. A large bed, a bookshelf teeming with poetry collections and illustrated storybooks, carefully tidied writing desk. You know what she's gonna see? She's gonna see her journal. Oh fuck! Because her journal should still exist, right? I don't think that would change at all. Oh my god, she's gonna see her journal. Placed upon it was a vase adorned with vivid flowers. There was once a time these belongings had been put away without notice, but Barsu brought all of them out and put them all back where they were, saying this is how Rem kept everything. That person. Okay, the writing would. Right, yeah, because the letter gets erased. Yeah, sorry, I forgot about that detail. Yeah, wow, so her journal is all gone. I mean, her journal's gonna be back once it's regurgitated, presumably. Presumably. But, like, ah, yeah, I forgot about that. Fuck, that's so unfortunate. Man, because that could have been fun to have Rem. I mean, it's still cool to know that, like, that's not an easy out for her. But that could have been fun to have her go for the journal and be like, I was saying all this shit about him? Like, damn, I'm getting freaky with some of this. Uh, that person, as Rem stood before the bookshelf, Rem conveyed to her Subaru's toll. Or no, toil, sorry. Uh, Rem's scathing remarks towards Subaru were primarily conspicuous, many of which Rem found agreeable, but the solitude of sincerity in her words she had just appended struck Rem's chest. Pulling out a collection of poetry, she flipped through the pages. The written verses were all things she had no remembrance of. These bindings were of literature that Rem of before must have liked, must have loved. Many of them somehow seemed to recite love or romance, giving her both a sense of peculiarity and embarrassment towards her past self. Ha. Dude, she was reading poems of love and fucking like rom-coms and all this like shit just because she was that fucking infatuated. Man, she was so in love. She had all this shit in her room and she's like, hee, and she's like so excited about all. Ah, I'm so excited for the end of this chapter. Uh, for over a year, I was asleep, right? After placing the poetry collection back in the bookshelf, Rem sat on the bed and caressed it with her hand, narrowing her eyes. In Rem's stead, once she had plunged into her unawakening slumber, unable to fulfill her duties as a maid, Rem, Frederica, Petra, and the others must have performed the mansion's maintenance. And no, yeah, like like that. Honestly, you could attribute it to that explicitly because it's like it's a thing of like they're inherently all about violence, like we mentioned on the previous stream. They're focused on, war and being powerful and all this. Like not all of them, of course, but like that is like the sole focus of them as a race. So it's an interesting thing of when they fall in love, that also is to the extreme. When that's something they focus on, like someone like Rem, it is an obsession, and it's an unhealthy obsession to the point that she gets gluttonied, right? She gets gluttonied because she gets way too into what she's doing, and it's like, wait a minute, don't say those details to him, right? It's like, oh, but uh, where were we? And the others must have performed the mansion's maintenance, attended to the asleep Rem. Even now, the bed's cushions and sheets have been maintained clearly, the careful and conscientious work discernible. Next to the bed were faint traces of sun-bleached discolorations on the floor, bearing witness that a chair had been sat there for long. An image came to her mind of those visiting Rem talking to her from there. It surely must have been Rem, Amelia, and the rest. And finally, Rem also wordlessly seated herself beside Rem on top of the bed, a tender gaze of light crimson watching her profile. Rem closed her eyes and shook her head. She had not been asked, but she must have made her want to ask. of everything in this mansion, of everything in this room, not inspired Rem's memories. All that was here was a wealth of affections and love, things that made her feel so, things that illuminated to the unremembering Rem that she used to be happy. She could ardently, fervently feel this, enough to mist her eyes with tears. Let me take a drink. I need to stop reading ahead. That's something else I was waiting for that I meant to mention at the start of the stream. Fucking, hold on. Hold on. Fucking, 1 second. No, yeah, I keep doing it to myself. Fucking. Nah, fuck it, I'll just show it here. Just fucking. Welcome back. Welcome back to this little thing that I've been waiting to see for a while now. That honestly, I almost thought she was gonna take out of nowhere, like she was gonna re-summon, uh, in Arc 8 when she does the get away from him moment. I didn't even think it was gonna be Todd's axe. I thought it was gonna be that. I thought she was out of nowhere gonna take that out and be like, "What the fuck? How did I get this?" Uh, that was precisely why Nisama. That makes me really curious. What is that? The room was luminescent with sunlight, uh, filtering through the trees. Oh, so if it's sunlight, we're a while away then. Like we aren't there yet because they imply it's night over there. Then again, well, no, because I mean it could be a difference of time in general for this sort of thing, right? Much like, you go to a different country and all that, and time zone changes. But like, who knows? We'll see. Uh, I'm just using that as a means to dictate what time it might be, but I guess we'll see. Uh, so with sunlight filtering through the trees, a tender and gentle atmosphere permeated by compassion. Placed in one corner was a mysterious object. The strangeness of an iron ball, covered in spikes, attached to a chain, lured her eyes. Upon Rem's inquiry, Ram murmured an ah, as though just taking notice. That's a morning star. Morning star? Yes, that's what Barasu started calling it. Before long, I didn't even realize. Oh, well, okay. No, they might not remember. That might be the case. But if the implication is that he named it, I'm gonna shit, dude. Like, oh my. That is heart-wrenching if the implication is that he named it. It's probably not. It's probably just memories being, you know, reattached and everything. But like, dude, if the actual thing is he named it, and I've never known this till now, dude. Before long it stuck, apparently. That is also something Rem treasured. Me? That thing? Appraised of, well, yeah, I mean, you used it a lot, Rem. Appra or apprised of something exceedingly different from her reminiscences so far. Rem could not help but look back and forth at Ran and the spiked iron ball, the morning star. Afterwards, she nearly convinced herself that this was another one of Rem's mischievous jokes. Rem also understands your doubt, but after looking at Barasu, especially preparing a dedicated cloth and oil, and polishing it every day, Rem thinks it's lasted for too long to simply be some worthless joke. But doesn't it seem like that person would do something foolish like this? Indeed, it's undeniable. Perhaps the dispute already settled, Rem had a sympathetic response to Rem's objection. Rem's demeanor made Rem rise from her bed, and she walked towards the morning star. I don't understand. Pick it up, Rem. You'll be able to pick that thing up great and swing around no problem, despite. Yeah. Yeah, no, the fucking like Subaru would be just cleaning that thing, and it's like, oh, I remember the time that this thing caved my head open, and then it also beat the shit out of me when I was on the ground one time, and then also, I mean, I occasionally had to deal with it a little bit when she became a demon, or rather took her horn out, I guess. Upon closer inspection, she noticed a handmade iron ball holder had been made for it so that the iron ball's spikes did not splinter the floor. Uh, a palpable sense of the smallest of considerations. The cloth and container of oil left at the same spot corroborated Rem's testimony of Subaru polishing it every day. You know, you gotta give the man credit. That thing is presumably fucking heavy, right? Because you see the way it hits things in terms of how it's described, or in terms of how you see it in the anime and manga. That thing is fucking strong, right? It's not just because Rem is swinging it and she's strong. That thing is an iron ball, right? And it's spiked and all this sort of shit. And somehow this man not only only manages to lift it, clean it, whatever. He puts it on a fucking like stand so it's safe. You gotta give Subaru credit. That is an insane amount of work for something that would like sink right through your leg. Like no issue at all. That thing would just sink through your leg without any force behind it. However, so what? That was all there was to it. I'm sure this too was one of that person's like with his cross-dressing, simply expressed in truly limited words, was unquestionably only some vile thing that reflected Subaru's tastes. Bearing this notion, Rem stooped and touched the iron ball with her fingers. It was at that moment, huh? Without warning, Rem's vision warped and distorted as she unwittingly fell to the floor on her back. Disgraceful conduct, but in this moment in time, Rem had no composure to feel ashamed of it or be mindful. There's no way it's happening right now. Oh my god, it's happening right now. Oh my god, it's happening right now. Oh fuck. Dude. Oh no, it's happening right now. I don't mind that I spoiled myself on that. I don't mind that I read ahead. Oh fuck. So I'm right, by the way. I'm right. Okay, I did that does clarify for me. Yeah, it does work on a country sort of system where you go somewhere else. Obviously, it's a different time of day. That makes sense. Dude. Dude. Fuck. Ugh. Falling onto her rear, her swirling dizziness spiraled through the world. Despite her person's position in this place, the floor, the ceiling, became indifferentiable. The white and black of the world inverted. The things she could see. I love that it happens when she touches the morning star. Like, I know that's not related, but the fact that it starts as soon as she touches the morning star, that's so good. The things she could see and the sounds she could hear, the sense she could smell, and the air's taste, the sensation of touch. These five senses became nebulous and melded together, seeing the air, smelling the sounds, touching the scents, tasting the colors she heard. Uh, ah, ugh, excuse me. All that she could now sense, that, convulsing, and even Rem's past, present, and future melted together. A village in the mountains, flag, emblazoned with a wolf impaled by the swords, creaking notes of a wheelchair, the weary of flying dragons covering the sky, an abominable wail of white gliding through the night sky, a broken horn soaring into the twilight radiated by flames, a young boy who pleaded with an earnest look, a young boy who raged, a young boy who shed tears, a young boy who laughed. Before long, the impact akin to the recreation of the world burst open like a bubble popping. Her sight, her hearing, her olfaction, her olfaction, her taste, her touch, each was able to see, hear, smell, taste, feel, informing her of the way to live in the correct forms. The nigh scorchingly severe sensation, feeling its received pulsation diffusing blood to every corner of her body, Rem blinked once, twice, thrice. She did not know what in the world had occurred. Merely, Rem is still falling to the floor. She touched her cheek with her trembling hand, ascertaining her existence. The sensation of her fingers touched faded not. Fleeting, fallible, fearing not to crumble like a castle made of soft sand, Rem did not pour any more strength in her fingers. Feeling that she, if at all, coveted anything further, then all would vanish. As Rem was engulfed in this unrejectable dismay and fear, a warm sensation enveloped her from behind. She inhaled, too petrified to even turn around, hugged tightly by the arms wrapping around her from her back, as Rem's mind and heart were inundated about herself. She regained a desire to focus on someone else. And the first person on whom she focused was the presence embracing her from her back. Nessa, wait, don't turn around yet. Right now, for the first time in her life, Ram is feeling disappointed in herself. All of her attempts to turn around stifled by that person. Rem stiffened her body. Ram, whose visage was concealed, her hugging arm. Dude, she's remembering and now she feels fucking awful. Oh my god, I feel so bad for Ram. This is what I was saying. This is what I was saying last time is I'm gonna feel so bad for Ram because she's gonna remember and then it's gonna have her sitting there remembering like she couldn't do shit. Right. Rem got fucked over and she could not do a damn thing. Uh, her professing voice were all trembling. This was exceedingly uh, uh, antithetical, far removed from the image of Ram that Rem knew. At all times, Ram was dignified and gallant, never showing Rem of anything but her majestic form. That held true when they had reunited in the Empire, when they undertook the journey back to Roswell Mansion just by the two of them, when she used to be overburdened by recoil when they first began working in the mansion just after her horn had broken, when she grappled with the witch cultist enemies in the blazing village to protect the foolish Rem. Whenever had been captured by Rem's eyes, Rem was ever more venerable. So sorry, Rem. Myself is deplorable. Nesama, what are you? Even after loving you, cherishing you so much, Rem, to have forgotten you and kept on living till this day. Just how heartless was Rem as your Nesama? Fuck yeah. Rem's eyes dilated at Rem's voice, possessive of love far too immense. And therefore, in lament, shaking off all restraints, Rem turned around and faced Rem as she hugged her. Faintly widening her tearful, light crimson eyes, Rem looked at her in astonishment. Rem's chest was warmed at the sight of the visage she had gazed upon the most, for the longest time in her life. She gained certainty of what a happy person she was, surrounded by that which she loved. Nesama, you are not heartless or anything such. Rem also wants to apologize. Always making you nothing but worried, betraying the piety of a sister. Rem. Rem understands everything. How much Nesama shattered her heart for Rem, and how many terrible sacrifices you made to have been together with me to this day. And, Rem, about what the weak and deplorable Rem, who only ever receives, needs to do hereon. As Rem focused her eyes on the countenance before her, Rem's cheeks were embellished with streams of tears, wiped by Rem's fingers, who then gave her a smile. She then stretched her arm to draw her elder sister's head close and embraced her into her chest. Remaining seated on the floor, the two sisters gently nestled with one another, recuperating affection. No, it was Rem who had always been doing so. Rem was the one who lacked it. Nesama, I love you. Bringing closer lips to her ear whilst holding her close, Rem conveyed her brimming and overflowing emotions to Rem. Drip by drip, feeling warm droplets of tears wetting her chest, Rem maintained silence and continued to embrace Ram, weeping with tears. Accepting in her heart, at long last, the fulfillment of their true reunion, Rem conveyed her love with her past self, her present self, and all that she could wield. To her mind's satisfaction, to her heart's content, at this moment, she wanted to be with Rem this way. And after unfulfilled time of the sisters was duty reclaimed, Rem had things she must do. Too many people to whom she must convey her gratitude and love. Above all else, the first person to surface in her mind was a mean-eyed, black-haired boy, Subaru-kun. To convey her love, she must stand up for what a happy reason I am allowed to live. So spoke Rem's mind. Isn't that like the same shit she said when they were about to like break off essentially? Dude. Who? I know we're almost at the end because I only saw 4 illustrations in there. Oh, we are at the present. Oh shit, we're at the present now. How much more do we have left? Oh, we do not have much more, I think. Oh shit. You are 100% true, my friend. This is like actual cinema. I am I am so happy. That is such a I'm so glad that it's Ram realizing all the ways she fucked up and hugging Rem. It's not her fault, but it's nice for the character because it fits. Rem trying to push that onto herself, right? We know this from arc 6. I didn't realize how dark this room is getting. I'll turn on the light if it gets too dark. Let me try and open it a little bit further. Just a little bit. We know this from arc 6 with Ram's backstory, right? Arc 2, we know it with Rem's backstory as well. But we know it with arc 6, where the two of them have their backstory, right? And both hate themselves, right? But when Ram's horn comes off, both of them hate themselves. Rem hates herself because she's like, dude, I wished for that. And now, I've made my sister useless, right? And it's like I feel awful for that. And uh with Ram hates it because she's like, dude, I wished for that, and I wanted my sister to like flourish. I wanted her to be the proper one of us too, right? And I never have to worry about all this Oni God bullshit. But all I've done now is make Rem feel bad, right? So now I feel terrible about myself. Like, why the fuck did I wish that, right? I love that they both have that moment in Arc 2 and Arc 6, and then here in this chapter we get to see the full wraparound of that, of like Ram being mad about that, right? The fact that, dude, I lost, like I lost my sister there briefly. I didn't even fucking remember her. I did all this bullshit to bring her back, and I couldn't remember a damn thing. Like, she's pissed at herself that she couldn't protect Rem at all times and everything. And then Rem conveying that back and being like, no, it's my fault. I'm, I'm the dumbass who rushed in, fucking got my memories stolen, all this bullshit, fell asleep, all this. And I love that it's a back and forth essentially between them in that regard. And nice loving hug. And then it perfectly ends with, oh yeah, she, there's so many people that she has to convey her gratitude and love to. And the first person that comes to mind is, yeah, yeah, no, I need to convey my love to him. And then she's probably informed off screen of what happened, and she goes, okay, so we're gonna get to work a little bit. Yeah. Ah, cinema. Genuine cinema. All right, let's get back to it. Giving a deep and silent bow, the girl in the maid uniform then looked up, drawing a gasp from Petra. Wide eyes, the petrified bodies were frozen in place. Not just Petra, but Meili and Amelia were also similarly struck speechless at her appearance. Amid such involuntarily silence, the first to speak was Rem. The unintangible, imaginary Subaru stood motionless, staring at the same person as Petra. The stupefied voice only reached Petra's ears. Sadly, the girl, the one who called to herself all attention, could not see this transparent self. Even for Petra, she had not the time to help that unnoticed Subaru. However, she could guarantee that which Subaru had called out was correct. The one who stood there, without mistake, was the girl so beloved and dear to him named Petra. Or not named Petra. Named Petra! We're changing the narrative. We're changing all of this. No. Named Rem. But shit, hold on. Let me make sure my stream's alright. Because YouTube's being, not YouTube, but Streamlabs is being weird with this. Hold on. 2 seconds. I just want to make sure we're all good. Okay, yeah, we're good. I just wanted to make sure we were alright. I was a little worried for a second that everything glitched. So, but no, we're all good. That's alright. Alright. Uh, at that moment, sparks started through Petra's mind. The fog in her field of consciousness uh, successfully cleared. The presence of that which exerted such force of attraction right before her eyes made the images of memories that had been unconsciously pushed into the corner of her mind, excuse me, covered by a shroud of forgetfulness, start to reappear within her hall of cognizance. And so She was struck by an impact akin to scattering sparks of all the vivid images that displayed. The time that Petra had spent in contact with her as Petra was not very long. The young girl was a maid who frequently came from the Roswell's mansion to the village to do some shopping. Though they hardly interacted and had never exchanged a word, she became more expressive once Subaru had started to visit the village. More importantly, she was also a benefactor who had saved the lives of Petra and her friends. The culprit behind endangering their lives had been Meili, in command of witch beasts, which was another tale of fate. Actually, Meili and her elder sister targeted those connected to herself at the most important moments far too much. Anyhow, Petra's connection with this girl was faint. Thereafter, just as the royal selection marked its beginning, she was met by the tragedy of the Sin Archbishop of Gluttony, victimized, and Petra was employed to fill her place, joining the Amelia camp as a maid. In other words, felt the tragedy that had befallen her, Petra would not be in the same position she was today, which in itself made for terribly complicated feelings. Rem, is that you? As though a face-down card flipped over, akin to confirming the patterns and text on it, one by Petra's misunderstanding about her were replaced with compression. Beside her, in a flattering voice, Amelia called her name as she blinked her eyes. Amelia stepped forward and hesitated, opening and closing her lips several times as if searching for the right words. I'm sorry, that was a weird thing to say. I've always properly known that Rem is Rem. That's not what I was trying to say. No need to worry, Amelia-sama. Please calm down and take your time. Rem, too, understands that this is all very sudden. Thank you. Yes, thank you. There's so much I want to say, but, that look suits you really well. It makes me really feel like you're Rem. Amelia placed her hand firmly on her chest, smiled at Rem, her amethyst eyes moist with tears. In response to Amelia's words, Rem raised her eyebrows slightly and nodded. She proudly puffed out her chest in her maid uniform, and it's a uniform Nesima tailored to suit Rem, after all. Upon hearing Rem's answer, Rem, her arms crossed, nodded in satisfaction. What is this, all of a sudden? Besides this exchange between Amelia and Rem, Meili frowned and muttered, as if a little crimson scorpion emerged from her hair, clicking its pincers as if anxious about its master's reaction. Meili closed one eye and placing her hand to her forehead. The moment I saw Rem on Nesan's sister, I was reminded how much she crushed the whole pack of Olgarm Chans. If it isn't the reason that caused the job to fail, in that case, you should be grateful to Rem. Thanks to Rem making your job fail, there were no victims other than Barasu, which is why you're able to be here at this moment. I've got mixed feelings about it, finding it difficult to express my gratitude. Rem pointing this out while clutching her elbows, to which Meili made a displeased face and stuck out her tongue. While Rem's words were indeed harsh, they also held truth. In fact, it's unmistakable that Meili, at one time their enemy, was accepted into the Amelia camp because of the damage her deeds had caused to the camp were minimal. Ram's point, that there had been no victims other than Subaru, ironically enough, was also correct from the perspective of return by death. As per your understanding, the moment those who have Heferto known Rem lay their sight upon her, within them their memories of her are revived. Distortion. Neither Ryuzu-sama nor I were able to contain ourselves. Resultantly, we were delayed in rejoining everyone. Confession. Klein's reaction was meager and unamusing, but Ryuzu-sama's outburst was over the top and quite the sight to see. That is a privilege for those who were present to witness it. I see. A sight to see, you say? Certainly. We did not get to behold something unusual. Agreement. Ha! The rebirth of her memories that befell those who surrounded Rem. No. In view of the conditions of the authority of gluttony thus far, the phenomenon should be called the rebirth of her name. Judging upon that fact, Klein cast a meaningful look to Rem, to which she averted her eyes in obvious displeasure and snorted. Upon a much closer inspection, the faint redness around Rem's eyes, Klein's remark, but a sight to behold might have been related. However, Petra did not allude to that either, not out of chivalrous sympathy, but because she was unable to. Petra-san. Suddenly, Rem, who had been basking in everyone's attention, widened her eyes upon looking at the silent Petra, because she also has the memories, isn't it? That's what it is. Amelia and the others also turned to see Petra at her reaction, and were startled by her state. Their response was a matter of course. Petra, who had uttered not a word up until that point, had a flood of tears streaming down from her round eyes, and was desperately trying to suppress her throat, as it verged on convulsing, heaving sobs. Petra-chan. Oh no, she's crying so uncontrollably. Her, yeah, because just like the stuff with Amelia, of course. The moment her tear-strewn face was noticed, Petra kicked the ground and broke into a run. Got in the arms of Amelia, who, taken aback by Petra's tears, she tried to embrace her, avoiding Meili, who attempted to grab her sleeve, slipping under Ramji's legs, who was caught off guard by the situation. With agile movements, Petra jumped forward into the bosom of Rem, who was staring at her with eyes dilated. And Rem, Kya, caught in the arms of Rem, who had shown the kindness to not dodge her, Petra embraced her slender body embraced her slender body tightly. Rem blinked her eyes as she reciprocated Petra's hug, clung to her, reluctant to let go. Rem, Rem, Rem. Petra crumbled at Rem's reaction, unable to stop tears from flowing. She found herself indulging in something she had resolved herself never to do, sniveling in front of others, yet she was unable to tear herself away. Thus, while supporting that tearful Petra, Rem looked around for assistance. Do I just not remember, but were Rem and Petra son this close for you to cry so much for me? And so, failing to conceal the hue of her loss of bearings, she continued to gently caress Petra's head. That's cute art. And that's it. Wow. That's the phase. That's a bit of an unexpected end, but good. I like it. That was good. That was really good. So, Phase 4 / Volume 4 will very clearly be the Al CBT arc, where Rem is gonna go in and stop the shit out of him. But yeah, wow. All right. Uh, okay, fair enough. And then Urban Legend, yeah, okay. Does this automatically? It does. Okay, yeah. Oh, and all this art is fucking great. This was good. This was a fantastic phase. I, I'm gonna be honest. I'm glad I started it for Arc 9. I'm especially glad. Oh, this is on Pixib. Shit. This is beautiful though. I love this. Uh, I like all of these. Okay, that one's privated. But we can like this one. Ha. I was gonna mention. I am at least glad we started with this because you know what? We got to go through a fantastic volume here. This was great, right? From the fight with Amelia at the start, right, to like let's go over this. Let's recap everything we went through, right? So, very first few chapters was the Amelia stuff, right? The Amelia fight. That was great, right? I enjoyed that a lot. The Zodabug stuff and everything, like alluding to her appearing and all this, and like Otto being around. Love that, right? Boom. Okay, that was fantastic. Sword Demon versus Crimson Sakura, also really great, right? Fucking love that fight with Wilhelm and Ye, and then Heinkel stepping in and just with the stat. Well, I mean, first of all, like the Volcanica fight. So really strong and interesting fights at the start, and all this was great. Plan B, the conclusion to the Amelia fight, fucking fantastic. I love the mystery behind it and how you can very clearly tell it's probably Rem that was spat out. It's so good. So good at leading you just on like that. 100% effort. Which one was this? Oh, this was the continuation. Yeah. Nice chapter where we got to see the continuation of that. Otto's here now and he fucking pushed a boulder onto Al. We'll have to see how that goes, right? But new reset point for him. So there's that. And then the rest of this being the stuff with Klein and Petra. I love Meili's comments and stuff like that regarding witch factors and everything and how it alludes to like very obviously Capella and how she's familiar with Capella. Her mother and everything. Petra's stuff and whatever she was willing to sacrifice probably have a relationship with Subaru. It's unfortunate for her. It was never going to work out, right? Ever. but like still, fucking that was fantastic. And then just these, like on everything here was fantastic, but obviously, I'm going to say because I am biased, I am absolutely biased here. These last two chapters were fantastic, right? I had a great time. This was a really good volume. I am so glad we started with this, right? It would have definitely been better if we started the live reading sessions with phase one, but I don't mind that we started with this, especially because phase one had a little bit of Wallachia in there. And I did kind of want to move away from that a bit. As much as I like those chapters, I did kind of want to move away from that. I am glad at the very least we started with this. This was great. This was really good. Love this. And now we get to make a volume review about it. And what? It's volume like 40 for this? Feels fitting that another like 10th volume is like the big reveal of just, Rem's back and everything. This is so good, dude. Hold on, let me double check that I'm correct on that. This was a very good volume. I like this a lot. Or phase. No, last time was 40. Okay, never mind. I'm stupid. 41 is next. Or 41 is this. 42 is next. Okay. Never mind. But still. I mean, fitting that I got my volume of what was it? Yeah, 27. Like today. At the same time. That's very fitting. No, not 27. No, yeah, 27. I don't know why I thought otherwise. Don't know what that was about. Alright. With that said, I would like to do something here, because we're not going to be here for very long. I do, like, I did mention I have stuff to do and everything. But, I'd like to do something here. We are going to do something very interesting that might be unexpected. 3-0. Show me a good tier list with this. Come on. Come on. Give me a good one. Where's the ones that I usually do? Yeah, okay. This is good. So guess what we're doing? I'll tell you what we're doing. Let's put this all in the correct order. I don't think we need D. D is unnecessary. But we do this, we do this, we boop, boop. We do this. No. No, because you know what it usually is? Hold on. I usually have an extra row. And it's S. That's what we usually do. I'm pretty sure. Let me double check that's what I do. Let's go to our Arc 8 review. It would be right here. We go to this. I will rearrange this if I must. Yeah, I do peak, then S, A, B, C. So let's change. Let's make this red. And let's make this peak. Fitting peak color after, all this. That might be the wrong one. Hold on. There we go. Much better. Okay. Much better. That goes there. This goes here. This goes here. This goes up here. This goes here, I believe. Do I still have that tab open? No, I don't. I can always just... Yeah, okay. And now, I'm going to do something. This is a very bold choice. I'm going to do something. This is not bias. Unlike what I said before, this is not bias. Those two chapters, though, at the end, really did influence this, though. But it's not biased, genuinely. This is just how I feel so far about the whole arc. We ready for this? We ready? And there we... Just kidding. Yeah. I am going to make that bold choice right now. That is how I currently feel. This is so good. I I would potentially, depending on what the next two volumes are like, I would potentially willing to be like do this. I will change the name. No, I won't change the name. It still works. Partially why I changed the name from Goat because it's like it's better to just have like peak in there so that it implies multiple entries rather than I guess peak also implies the very top. So maybe we change the name. But this is a fantastic arc so far. This is really good. Every single volume. So here's the thing. Arc 5 kept me entertained every single volume. But I won't lie, the start of Arc 5 is a fun establishing volume that I do really like. But if you were to say there's a lot of moments that wow you in there, not really, right? It wows you towards the end. The middle bits of it in terms of plot and like learning about Wilhelm's family and all this sort of shit and everything, like about the city itself, do wow you. But Arc 9 consistently just wows you with shit. And this volume especially has been fantastic to such a point I'm willing to do that. My opinion might change. We're gonna keep this, right? I'm gonna keep this just in case. My hand can't even be seen anymore. We're gonna keep this just in case, right? And I will think on editing it later. But for right now, this is what we have, right? So hold on, let me record this so that I put it on Twitter. Just because, right? We'll put it on Twitter and all that. Right? So this right now is my current ranking. Right at this moment. That volume was fantastic. Those last two chapters were really fucking good. I'm of course absurdly happy about those last two chapters. But in general, the chapters that came before it, having interactions in there that I love, like I said, the stuff with Melee, obviously knowing all this shit about Capella for obvious reasons, right? Or not Capella, but like witch factors because of Capella for obvious, reasons related to that. Um, Petra and whatever she was willing to sacrifice, all this. Uh, the fights in there with Wilhelm and Ye and Wilhelm and Volcanica, and then Heinkel's moment, and then Otto, Amelia, all them going in. The chapter that alludes to the last two chapters in there. This shit was fantastic, and already I was loving Arc 5. Technically, yeah. But already I was loving Arc 9. I already mentioned that there was a chance it could make it above Arc 5, right? From the previous two volumes. This right now solidifies that. I don't know what it'll be like later. We can change this later. I will keep it, right? I'm not going to save anything. We're just going to keep it as is. But this is it right now. I am absurdly happy. And if things get even better, I am willing to do that. And I will change this to SS. For right now, it'll be peak, and we keep Arc 9 down there. But I'm willing to change it. Absolutely. So there's that. But yeah, I guess that'll be all for this stream. I gotta get to doing my review, essentially. I gotta go in. Uh, I essentially, honestly, I'm glad we do this because I remember everything, and especially because we have it all recorded and documented. I know what to talk about. It's great. This is really fun. But yeah, we'll do our review soon. I'll have it posted on the channel. Obviously, these don't take away from the reviews, so we'll still do them. And yeah, uh, I'm very excited to do that. There's a lot to talk about. I, I'm actually having a struggle here. I don't know what to do about the review because I want to do a custom thumbnail, and it's risky, right? Because the obvious choice, of course, is the obvious choice is right, but like that's risky. To have a thumbnail with her on it, that's really risky, especially for people who. But I don't know. I like how it shows that. I wonder, is it updated? Is there like status here? Shit. I'm blind. affiliation. Oh, there it is. Status alive. Well, okay. But I think they mentioned asleep before on the status. Weird that it's not spoilered, but all right. Uh, but yeah, I want to try and do something special for that thumbnail. We'll have to see if I can. We'll see. We'll see when I get there. Right, I might do something special. I might just keep it to whatever the volume art is with the felt camp, like running. I'll think on it, right? But for now, we're gonna end off. This has been fantastic. I am so fucking happy. This was great. This was absolutely great. Thank you all for joining me, right? And yeah, I mean that was a short end to the chapter. One I definitely wasn't expecting, but it was still really good. Oh boy. I think that'll be it. So take care. Have yourselves a nice night. We'll be back for the review. And then we'll be back whenever the next reading sessions happen, all that. We'll be back tomorrow, actually, for Deltarune. But other than Deltarune tomorrow, we'll be back later down the line. I'll have an update video out soon. I'm probably going to do the review, and then I'm going to do an update video. And with that update video, I'm going to officially reveal what the Act 2 title is. I'm not going to reveal who the main character is. I'm not going to reveal all these teasers and everything. I'm just going to reveal what the title is. And that's it. With that said, though, we're going to end off here. So take care. Have yourselves a nice night. I'm very happy, right, obviously. And, yeah, we'll be back for the review, Deltarune, or whatever it may be.